Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tam's Classy Creations, the channel where we break down projects so even a beginner can do them. In the video today, we're going to be making an apron like this one from a men's shirt. The one I'm making today is for my sister-in-law who lost her husband late last year. I'm going to be using one of his old loved shirts. So let's get into the video. This is the shirt we're going to be using for the video. It doesn't even have to be flannel, it can be any kind. So let's go to the overhead now. Step one on the aprons, I like to go down 2 to 3 buttons, or in this case snaps, and I like to sew the placket shut. It just makes it neater. So that's step one. So after we do that, then we are going to cut the side seams, and I've already marked it where with my pen where we are going to be cutting. So we're going to be cutting up to the armhole. So you can cut the arms off or you can leave them there, but then we're going to go, after we cut both sides, then we're going to go to the back. Now we can measure down about 1 inch. You can do a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, but I like something a little more for the neck than just this. I also cut off the tags there. So you're going to go around 1 inch to the sides. Then once you get to the side seam here, then we're going to just make a mark. We're just going to make a mark to your seam that you have cut. You're going to be cutting right up into here. We're just going to make a mark to that. Now the only thing you have to consider here is the pocket. Some pockets, you know, don't have a flap on them. You want to have, you're going to turn, what we're going to do is we're going to be turning it under 1/4 inch and another 1/4 inch to finish the edges. And that's how simple it is. Now I'll show you where to get the ties. You could use, if you don't have something for ties in your shirt, you could always do something else. But I like them about 1.5 inches, and you can make them the length of the shirt. So I've already marked where I'm going to cut the ties out. And it doesn't matter that, you know, the different colors of material. And we're going to fold those and do those like ties. The first thing I like to do is measure down 2 to 3 buttons or snaps, and this is the placket. And I just like to stitch it down, so you'll run a stitch down here. It just makes it neat and it doesn't open the front. So that's my first step. Number 2, we're going to cut it at the side seams, the front side of the side seams, and you can see where I have marked it with my pen. So I'm going to just cut the side seams all the way up to just underneath the armhole. So I have the sides cut off now. Let's move to step 3, and that is going to be cutting around the neck. So I try to measure about 1 inch down. You can do less, but I like about 1 inch. What we're going to be doing is turning all the edges that we cut over 1/4 inch and another 1/4 inch and top stitching them. So then what I do, after I get around to the side of the neck, I make a line from here to the side seam. Okay, you could cut off the arms, but really there's no need to, because we're going to cut it right here. I'm going to cut around the neck and down the other side. Now the only thing that you have to watch for, we're going to be turning this under 1/4 and then another 1/4. You don't want to get into your pocket. You want to make sure you have a good pocket. So that's why, you know, you kind of have to draw the line and see where you want to do it. So I'm going to cut this. Now that I've cut the neck, what we're going to do is, I like to start with the neck first. You're going to turn this under about 1/4 inch, and then you're going to turn it over again, and you're going to top stitch that all the way around the neck to the other arm. Then you will take the 2 side seams and you'll do the same. You'll turn those under 1/4 inch and then another. Very simple. Next step is the ties, and I'll show you what you do. I like to do it on the longest part of the material, and as you see, I've drawn them out. So we're going to cut those out of the back, and I try to use the longest part. Once we get them cut out, I'll be back. I'll cut these out and I'll be back and show you what we can do. Now the ties were cut 2.5 inches. You could go 2.5. Now the end, this doesn't always happen on the shirts I make, but the end is finished. So that'll be perfect. So what I usually do, I just fold in so we have a good edge, and you'll iron it in half. And once you do that, then I come back and bring each one to the center fold, each side. And then I just top stitch this. And if you think that's a little too wide, you can go down to a 2 inch or 1.5 inches. So that's how I do the ties. I've completed sewing the apron, and I attach the ties right here underneath the arm where we cut it on the shirt. So that works out really good. Now, if you have a little bit of too much slack here, and it could be from having a pretty big shirt to start with, I will take a dart, and just to get rid of some of that slack. So all you do is just fold the material where you want the dart, make it even on both sides, start, maybe 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, however much you need, and just stitch 1 inch or 2 to nothing. And that will hold some of the slack. And one other tip I'll share with you: sometimes when we cut from here to the neck to make this piece right here, the shirt might have been smaller even, but sometimes we're going to have to make that come down. We're going to make it come down a little more. I never know until I cut it if it's going to be long enough, because I like to attach the ties right here, and sometimes they're way too high. So you can get the ties a little bit lower if you come just a little bit lower on that one cut. That's just something I've noticed from doing a lot of these. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now you can create your own apron from an old shirt. Before I go, I want to ask everyone to subscribe and like the video. Feel free to ask questions in the comments below. Well, that's all I have for today. Stay tuned. Videos every week. See you in the next video.